Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. In the mist-clad hills and deep valleys of India's northeast, a quiet transformation is gathering speed on the railway tracks. For decades, these landscapes were seen as remote and hard to reach. But today, new railway lines, tunnels, bridges and roads are knitting the region more closely into the national grid. These ambitious projects are not only boosting connectivity, but also opening a new era of trade, mobility and integration for India's northeastern frontier. The newest milestone in this journey is Mizoram's Bairabi-Sairang railway line, 51 kilometers of challenging terrain built at a cost of over 8,000 crore rupees. With its inauguration by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Aizawl appears on India's railway map for the first time.
Aizawl will be on India's railway map. A few years ago, I had the opportunity of laying the foundation stone for the Aizawl railway line. And today, we proudly dedicate it to the people of the nation. Overcoming many challenges, including difficult terrain, this Bairabi-Sairang rail line has become a reality. The skills of our engineers and the spirit of our workers made this possible. Friends, our hearts have always been directly connected with each other. Now, for the first time, Sairang in Mizoram will be connected directly with Delhi by the Rajdhani Express. This is not just a railway connection, but it is a lifeline of transformation.
And this is just one chapter in a much bigger story. Over the past decade, investments in rail infrastructure in the northeast have surged. Government data shows that since 2014, railway allocations to the region have risen fivefold to 62,477 crore rupees. For the current fiscal alone, 10,440 crore rupees have been earmarked. Projects worth 77,000 crore rupees are currently underway, which is the largest wave of rail investment in this region's history. In Mizoram, Nagaland, Manipur and beyond, long-delayed projects are finally linking capitals to the national grid. In Tripura, railway line has reached the borders. Meghalaya has seen its first railway station, while Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim and Assam push forward with new lines, electrification and doubling works. But today on the show, we will go beyond the numbers and try to understand about how these tracks of change are reshaping the economic and social landscape of India's northeast. Joining me are two key voices in this transformative journey. I'm delighted to welcome in the studio Mr. Sudhendra Jyoti Sinha, Advisor for Transport and Infrastructure Connectivity at Niti Aayog. Mr. Sinha, always a pleasure to have you with us on the program. And joining us virtually is Mr. Arun Kumar Chaudhary, General Manager, Northeast Frontier Railway Construction. Mr. Chaudhary, glad to have you with us on this telecast. So congratulations first on the successful completion and the inauguration of the Bairabi-Sairang railway line, which is being described as one of the most difficult, challenging projects in the history of the Indian Railways. Like the Prime Minister said, the skills and the spirit of your team has resulted in this engineering marvel, which also the Prime Minister described as the lifeline of transformation. So before I begin the conversation with you, let me share a brief information with our viewers about some unique features of the Bairabi-Sairang railway line. So this 51-kilometer line has 45 tunnels, 55 major bridges, 88 minor bridges, 5 road over bridges and 6 road under bridges, of which bridge number 196 or the Kurung bridge is the highest at 114 meters. It's 42 meters taller than the Qutub Minar. So almost 54% of this line is in tunnels and bridges. Mr. Chaudhary, let's begin our conversation first. Let's understand from you how these massive structures were designed, transported and executed in the project in Mizoram's rugged terrain.
Yeah. As you have told, this is 51.38 kilometers from Bairabi to Sairang.
Right.
So road from Bairabi to Sairang is about 100 kilometers, 99 point something kilometers. It is about 100 kilometers. Our alignment is located at about 7 kilometers to 17 kilometers between different stations, except Bairabi and Sairang. The road is also quite bad because in rainy season, there are several landslides and everything. Therefore, transportation of material was very difficult along the construction of track.
Right.
You are aware that all those construction materials, they are to be transported from outside. Therefore, we have made almost 100 kilometers of roads so that we can transport material from Bairabi to the construction site. As you see, there are 45 tunnels. Means we have crossed hills at 45 locations. 55 major bridges, means there are valleys, deep valleys, as you have rightly told, it is pier height is 114 meters. You can understand working at 114 meters for such a long bridges, it was very, very difficult. Geologically also, it was a very big challenges because at many times landslides were there, but the team was working tirelessly since last 10 years, and in last 2 years, it has increased to that extent that we could open the line, and it has now started.
So multiple challenges there that you faced, one because of the rugged terrain, second because of the connectivity, narrow roads, the rainy weather. Tell us also about some of the challenges that you faced with regard to the, the provision of labor, perhaps also taking them to that remote part of the area. Because I was hearing one of your chief engineers talk to a TV channel, and he did describe the short working season, which proved to be a major challenge because of continuous rains in that area. Second, it being a remote locality, and because perhaps there is also network issues. So the labor force was not willing to work there. So how did you cope up with those challenges and made it possible in record time?
We have to encourage them because, only 4 to 5 months are working season. The rest of the time it is raining. It is very difficult. Things are not, even for daily use materials, are not available. Therefore, we have camped at work sites at several places. We have given all facility and all protection. The state government has also helped a lot so that people should feel safe and free to work there. We have provided them electricity through diesel generator set. We are there, we are encouraging them. Therefore, they could work around the clock. That bridge you told, this is 42 meters taller than Qutub Minar. Their work was going on round the clock. It was lastly completed, erection was completed in 4.5 months. That was a big challenge, but labor force were so encouraged. My entire team, agencies, my men, engineers, everybody was thinking to complete the work in record time. We are not, a year earlier, we are thinking, in spite of all these things, this may take more than 2 years. But because of their involvement, their commitment, we could complete it by this time when our train is running over it.
It's remarkable how we are celebrating such a feat, but it's important for our viewers also to understand that when you have projects with such unique features in rugged terrains, the challenges that the teams face, but how they overcome it is also something that we all must know about. Mr. Sinha, I didn't want to bring up the challenges first, but since we happen to speak about some of the challenges and how the team involved, the multiple agencies sailed through those challenges, we do realize that the Bairabi Sairang is an engineering feat. We also had a similar conversation during the Chenab Bridge. But tell us about the policy coordination. I believe it's quite complex when it relates to projects like these, which includes land acquisition, environmental clearances, then you have interagency approvals, and most importantly, the budget. So what were the biggest policy or institutional hurdles that this project faced before taking off?
So, in fact, I would first, I would join you in congratulating our general manager, because this is definitely one of the feats of engineering. So if you recollect, frankly speaking, a couple of decades ago, nobody would have ever thought that railways could have their footprints in a place like, Aizawl, close to Aizawl. Nobody would have ever thought. So if you recollect, then in last, say, little over 10 years, the focus has been on Northeast. So act East, act Northeast, that has been kind of, one of the mantras of the government. So and with that, what we started was that the existing schemes as well as the new schemes, all of them were kind of directed towards taking the entire, they were acting as a catalyst to take this thing forward. Now for a scheme, for a engineering marvel, for a connectivity like this, you require three things which are fundamental. One is the funds, of course. Second is, more than that, a focus. And more than anything else, the faster approvals. If these three things are in place, that means that you are absolutely, aligned to it. So I would say that the complete government machinery, all the agencies involved into it, they were aligned to it. They wanted that this thing should be coming up, because we realized that what, advantages does it bring about, this sort of connectivity. And after all, 8 states are there. 8 states are lying in Northeast, close to a little over 20% of number of states, they are like right there. And they need to be connected to the mainstream. That's why this particular, railway system that works. So I would say that the faster kind of, even the law and order agencies, they cooperated in a big way, because that is also one of the challenging area in those challenges in those areas. So it was complete kind of, I would say, what government always says, whole of government approach. That has been able to, because of that, we have been able to pull off such an engineering marvel like Bairabi Sairang.
Coming now to the significance, we've understood the challenges and what the teams had to go through. There was so much of coordination that was required, especially when you have projects like these in a state like Mizoram, wherein you do not have any of those materials available. So you have to take materials, construction materials from neighboring states, also take a lot of construction labor workforce as well from the neighboring state to these regions, and how then it's completed despite the rainy weather. There are incessant rains, you would be aware, in Mizoram. So the working season is roughly around just 4.5 months in a year. Despite those challenges, this remarkable engineering marvel has been pulled through. And what it does is that in a lot of ways, it not just enhances connectivity, it connects the state to the mainland, to the national grid, and it opens up a lot of opportunities in different areas. So we'll try and understand in terms of unlocking the full potential of not just Mizoram but the entire region. When we were growing up, we would look at the Northeast as a beautiful region which is rich in culture, which is so beautiful that we would want to go for our holidays. But the biggest challenge was, as we grew up, we would see that this was one area which lacked infrastructure, because of which the full potential couldn't be realized. The last decade, as you rightly said, there have been so many projects, and the whole of government approach has made that happen, because of which Aizawl now becomes the 4th capital to be connected to the national grid. How vital is it in terms of, and projects like these, not just the Bairabi Sairang, but similar projects in unlocking that potential that we keep hearing the government talking about of all of these 8 states in that region?
So I would put it this way, that wherever railways go, I'm not talking of the normal connectivity, roads are always there, but wherever railways go, the first thing that it is able to do is that it expands your market. So market in 2 senses, of course. First is that the outside produced goods, they can easily be accessible to those areas. At the same time, the products of that particular region also have access outside. Right. So this is first kind of advantage that you have. And with that, the two allied advantages are that you have got newer opportunities for education and healthcare, because now you have got access to mobility. So that is the second kind of set that comes in. And of course, the subsidiary ones will be tourism, hospitality, logistics, those kind of areas are there. So if you try to analyze these things, so there are two set of networks in which these things, this traction comes out. One is among the states. So among these states, a more intense coordination, more intense partnership that comes. And number two is connecting to the mainstream, national mainstream. So these are the two specific areas in which these kind of projects, they are able to bring this particular northeast to it. And you would see, and now we are watching that, what a major advantage. Not only this particular Bairabi, Sairang, before that was Lamding Silchar, gauge conversion was there, before that Bougainville came into position, before that Nagaland, and from there the Rajdhani came to Delhi. So all these put together, they are bringing about major traction into the picture. That is the reason why these people in this area now gradually, there is a kind of emotional connect with the mainstream that is gradually rising more and more. So I would say that it completely unlocks multiple hidden areas, hidden potentials, and that brings it to the table. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chaudhary, taking on from what Mr. Sinha was saying in terms of how it's transforming lives in the region, so many years, nearly 8 decades after independence, we've been able to connect the northeastern part of the country to the national grid. That's remarkable. Tell us about how you see these railway lines changing the everyday life, not just for the passengers, but for the local businesses, for the workforce that has been engaged in building these lines. Do you see them also benefiting in the future through this kind of connectivity?
Yeah. You see, the first train, when it started on 14th after inauguration, this was full. Actually, I think it was 113%. Booking was 113%. So this shows how people are interested for this line. Once we go through road from Bairabi to Sairang, it takes 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. And by train, we can move in 1 hour or say 1 hour, 10 minutes. Similarly, for goods, trucks are going, trucks are taking sometimes 2 days. In the rainy season, it takes sometimes 4 days also because there are blockages, there are landslides. But now it can go there from Bairabi to Sairang within 1.5 hours, say maximum 2 hours or so. So therefore, everything will be cheaper. And this Mizoram is such a beautiful place. Once you go through the line, it is enjoyment in itself. Everywhere find clouds, this green mountain, only mountain, valleys, clouds and everything. Therefore, this will have biggest tourist potential.
Right.
Not only it will be useful, it will be cheaper for the people of Mizoram, because first cement rake has already reached on 15th. 14th it has started near Guwahati, reached on 15th. Otherwise, if we start from here, at the time of construction, we are reaching there in 7 days, 8 days, 10 days. Suppose something we have transport from Guwahati to any construction site, nearer to construction site, because after that this was very difficult because we needed to unload it, then again break it down, transport it through small trucks, all 4-wheel drive, only then you can reach to site. Now things can move so fast. Therefore, they can get any construction material, anything much cheaper than they were getting earlier. Number one, they can transport, as rightly said, whatever produce they are having, they all can send to the market outside Mizoram. So by both way communication, it will be very good for the people of Mizoram and for the whole of India.
Certainly, there are so many sectors that stand to gain from this kind of connectivity. It not just enhances access, but as Mr. Chaudhary suggested, it opens up way for a lot of tourists to go in and explore the beauty of the Northeast and at an affordable cost. So tourism will expand, but it will not cost us heavy on our pockets. While you were speaking, Mr. Chaudhary, we were playing the visuals of the railway line, and each time I look at those visuals, I'm amazed at the remarkable remarkable work that has been done by your team. And I'm curious to ask you, as you are, the General Manager of the Northeast Frontier Railway, you're looking into several other projects that I will be talking about in due course of the program. Tell us about how you've adopted your construction practices to the unique geography and the challenging terrain and the weather, also not to forget the social context of the Northeast.
Yeah, during construction, you see, there are so many contracts. There is difficulties in transportation of manpower, bringing manpower to site, material from site. There are a large number of interfaces. So interface management was one of the biggest challenges, apart from bringing machinery, material, and all these things. We all together decided that all those interfaces should be eliminated, as if it is a project for everybody. All have worked in coordination, and we have seen somewhere when cement for one contractor is available, but for others it is not. They were exchanging among themselves. So such coordination was there that everywhere work was going on, even if at some of the place there is scarcity, others were recouping it. It was a festival type of work. If you have seen the site while working, now it is a tourist place. At the time of working, you will find that everywhere it is lighted, people are working day and night. It is just like a festival, and they have completed this. And now we are seeing a smile of the people of those regions. Then we find the pleasure we have is much more than whatever difficulties we were having earlier. Now we are also enjoying those projects.
So in order to spread this smile across to larger regions, tell us now, viewers, about the next big connectivity projects that you're working on in the northeastern region.
There are so many projects. We have to connect all capitals. First is Imphal, G1 Imphal, Manipur. So Manipur, we have already completed around half of the project. It is 52 kilometer. It is up to Khongsang. Next it is 110 kilometer project. December 28 we have targeted, and I think December 28 or before we will reach Imphal. Similarly, in Nagaland, Dimapur Kohima is already in progress. We have already opened 2 log sections. In fact, third is also likely to be opened, and it will also be opened sometime around January 29 also, because it is also equally difficult, and tunnels are very long. There are 7 kilometer tunnels, and at many places we do not have access to make edit and all these things. Therefore, all the work is going on full swing, but this will take its own time. But we are making it faster so that we should connect the capital city. Similarly, the Seahawk Rangpo, this is also going on full swing. Up to Rangpo, we will reach around December 27. And then Rangpo to Gangtok, the work is likely to be sanctioned very soon, and we hope in next 2-3 years, 3 to 4 years, we will be there.
So we are glad Aizawl is currently the 4th capital to be connected. More and more capitals will be connected to the national grid in the coming times, as you have suggested. Mr. Sinha, we've spoken about the economic benefits, but more and more capitals being connected to the national grid through railways, through roads. How do you look at the economic and social dividends also? Because for decades, this region has been a distant frontier, and we've only looked at them and being amazed by the beauty, but now we will be able to travel to and fro. How do you see the social dividends also being enhanced through projects like these?
So first thing is that with this kind of connectivity, it is going to enhance wider employment opportunity to people of this area. Right. Because if any one of these, let's say transport, tourism, hospitality I mentioned about, healthcare, so whichever expands, you see, then naturally the employment potential goes up. In addition to that, if these people are subsequently, the skilling centers are coming up, they would like to that mobility of people will increase. This is something amazing. That is precisely what the connectivity does. It expands your mobility. Otherwise, you are confined into your own area, your own cocoon is there. You don't know that what precisely is happening around the world. So once this sort of connectivity comes, this is going to bring about more and more. So as I said in the beginning, access to healthcare, access to education. These are the two primary advantage which I find that they would be coming out as a spin-offs from this kind of connectivity. And of course, the entire area would grow, because wherever railway stations are there, the entire, this creates a complete ecosystem around itself. That has got economic dimension to it also. So that is how it takes forward.
So tell us more about it. In addition to enhancing the infrastructure projects related to connectivity, how are we also prioritizing other projects, say in the area of healthcare, education, or skill centers, as you mentioned, which takes care of the entire region?
So as I also mentioned, that this area has been the focus. The simple reason is that prior to, before, so let's say 10, 12 years and before, that was always an infrastructurally deficit area. That's why we always had multiple issues from this area. So the government took this responsibility, rather they took this thing kind of one of their fundamental challenge before themselves, that this area must be connected to the national mainstream. And from there they started, and that is how we are. So be it new and newer schemes were launched specifically to cater to these areas, and they are from the education, they are for the tribals, they are for the aspirational district programs, they are for the healthcare programs. So in multiple areas, multiple schemes came in just to kind of assist these people and to make them feel integrated with the country. So that is how it has been able to do.
So the focus has been on inclusive growth. Mr. Chaudhary, I'll take one last comment from you on what your vision is, especially in context of the railways becoming engines of inclusive growth, something that Mr. Sinha was mentioning, rather than just transport corridors, because this is what will be the true transformation that has been envisioned in our Act East policy?
You see, wherever railway has gone, people are very much attached to the railways. When we are constructing, and it was in final stage for 5-6 months back, when we have started running goods train for some of the distance for carrying our material, people, aspirants group from different schools were coming to see how these things are going on. So you see, while construction, people were attracted, they were coming. Once it has started transporting material, passengers and all these things, this will be completely integrated. Therefore, railway will be the most important thing to integrate Northeast, who are a bit alienated, I can say, because they have not met many people. When we go there, we see many people are there who have not seen the trains in remote areas.
Right.
Now they can come, and first train was full. It was more than 110%. Means 113 or so percent they have booked first train to Guwahati. So therefore, this will create a good environment, integration with the rest of the India. They will not feel they are different. They are
certainly, and what Mr. Sinha was pointing out earlier, the whole of government approach precisely has led to the Northeast witnessing a transformation, which is as much about people as it is about infrastructure in the region. So as trains begin to roll into Aizawl and beyond, we hope that these projects are not just bridging distances, they're also connecting aspirations. Thank you to both our guests for joining us on the program today. Time allows me to take up only that much on this edition of Perspective. Thank you once again for joining us with your perspectives, and to you viewers, thank you very much for your time as well.
To watch more programs of Sansad TV, subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to like and share them.